Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about 10 RPGs with the best replay value. Well, actually they are going to be more than 10, but we will get into some details. And of course these kind of videos can fall into misunderstandings with, oh, so those are your favorite games. So I am bringing the ones that in a kind of objective way offer the best replay value. There are many of these games, but for the time being I'll keep it in this 10, where I'll briefly explain why. But in this time I won't stop so much into their stories unless it becomes relevant, so let's begin with some of the most obvious ones. As first entries, Castlevania games, particularly Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Aria of Sorrow, Dawn of Sorrow, Order of Ecclesia, Portrait of Ruin, Curse of Darkness, and why not, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. These ones are kinda obvious for me, but depending from RNGs the gameplay from run to run can change a lot. Also because they do not necessarily follow a straight path, having the chance to decide if you want to go into one place or another. It is fair to mention that some have a straight path until you reach a particular point, but after that, the world of possibilities is huge. I also consider these entries because you are not locked into a particular weapon or a small group of weapons. A second kinda obvious game, Monster Hunter. If you are into older entries, maybe not going too far in time for you and Generations. As for newer entries, World and Rise are the ones that will sit the best. Now this is kinda tricky because it is going to depend from the kind of gameplay you're looking. So for grindy sessions these games are extraordinary, and also because the way each weapon works is fantastic. Some may be kinda similar on a basic level, but the more you learn about them, the more you will notice that they are quite far from each other, going from really technical gameplay to basic but precise ones. So on that front, these games have massive replay value. However, they can also fall into some tedious repetitiveness, so it is going to depend. In the third entry, from the Soul series, while they are entertaining in their own way, the one that I enjoyed the most was Bloodborne, because it has an extraordinary story that still captivates people to this day, following the events of the Haunting Journal, a story that you will hardly understand in your first run, so you may need to play it at least 2 times that can become really meaningful because you can carry your progress in a new game plus, and also because many weapons in this game work in a different way, adding tons of replay value in each gameplay. In the fourth entry, Chrono Trigger. Here we will follow Chrono's story and how everything flows into this particular moment, where some years back Lucas started working on a time machine that will ironically work in maybe not the best moment, beginning this whole crusade, where depending from your choices, the game offers many endings. This is another entry that can be tricky. While the game offers like 13 different endings, in reality the meaningful ones are like 5, where also you can carry your progress into a new game plus. This is also recommended because most likely doing everything in your first run it's kinda hard. And well, there are many secrets throughout the different eras. Also because depending from your team composition you will have access to different special moves, which also play an important role in this whole mess. Of course the version I recommend are PS or DS, because they added more content and the game flows in a better way with a kind of active system where characters' speed matters. While it is turn-based, it definitely adds a much more entertaining way to play with this mechanic. For the fifth entry, Shin Megami Tensei. Most of them have at least 3 endings, so they have good replay value. Also because you can carry your progress, and there are a lot of demons to play around. While I wouldn't recommend all of them, 2 good choices are Devil Survivor and SMT5, at least as of the making of this video. Devil Survivor because the world building that it has is simply gorgeous, beginning this whole mess with cryptic messages that seem to predict the future until this situation escalates good enough and it becomes survival of the strongest. I am sure the best one is going to be the 3DS entry. I haven't played it, but with the experience getting every single ending back in the DS is enough for me to say that it is going to be completely worth it. And with similar premise SMT5, because in June we are going to get a new expansion with Vengeance, so while its story was not liked by everyone, going through these fights and the many options to use demons definitely adds a lot of replay value. In the 6th entry we have Fire Emblem. I know most of them could be seen with good replay value because you can play with different characters each run, but I believe Three Houses did something even better with 4 routes, where enemies, allies and maps change from one another. For a story that begins light-hearted as a teacher in a monastery to an all-out war against different antagonists, this game adds a lot of replay value in different ways, going for the waifu routes for those into that, or jumping into different sides of this story, where we can fight a seemingly evil person, a powerful vagabond, and so on. Another feature I enjoy a lot is the use of gambits, to back particular characters with some extra stats, or simply beat the heck out of everyone. In the 7th entry, I propose Pokemon, but not all of them. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the ones I would gladly play one more time, because they solved an amazing idea that I am sure many of us thought we will see in the future, where they will combine all the regions in one. How dumb we were. But oh well, this one is recommended because this adventure definitely offers a lot with 2 regions together, where also you can change a lot the general gameplay depending from the Pokemons you choose. For a first entry, this one is definitely recommended, because once you know the ins and outs of this whole mess, probably it's not going to be that entertaining to start a new adventure once again. For the 8th entry, Etran Odyssey. This is another I wouldn't recommend all of them, but we could use Etran Odyssey 3 as template. The replay value here comes from the many classes the game offers. I wouldn't go as far as to say that you need to finish its post-content, but for a classic playing session where you finish the main story, then yeah, this one definitely works. In my case, I have finished the first 2 entries 3 times. Once back in the DS with a classic team composition of Medic, Paladin, Magician, and 2 heavy damage dealers, but every time I replay these games I change most of the team composition, so when I played in the 3DS and not so long ago in the Switch, I can say that the whole deal was worth it. This of course may apply to many other first-person dungeon crawlers where you can have different team compositions. For the 9th entry, Tales of Arise. Where I see the huge replay value in this game is by simply having lots of options with each character. Not just the basic idea to say that we have 6 of them, but also because they have their particular way to play, and because this story is not insanely long. Maybe that is going to depend if your objective is to finish every single side quest once again, but for those who like to finish the game and start all over again, this one definitely accomplishes the objective. And last but not least, Xenoblade Chronicles X. I mentioned this game because similarly as Tales of Arise, this story is not insanely long, but having as main idea the creation of your character definitely adds a lot into this game, because it is not the same playing as a Bastion Warrior and Astral Crusader. They have their specific active and passive skills, as well as weapons to use. Also because this game has a lot of ways to be tackled, where sure the main story has a straight path, but once you get to know some of the side characters, that will help a lot to decide if you want to deep dive into their stories since the get-go. And another thing to consider is how efficient you may track credits and materials, potentially getting better skills for your whole team. And that's all folks, I hope you found this video informative, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.